Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for our webinar. My name is Jennifer Differ. I'm one of the directors of enrollment for Hult's part-time Metropolitan EMBA program. I'm based in San Francisco and work with candidates living in North America. Joining me is Director of Enrollment James Gamito, who works with candidates living in Latin America. And together we'll be moderating tonight's webinar. Before I hand it over to James to talk about the specifics of the Metro program and curriculum, I wanted to start by sharing a little bit about Hult International Business School as a whole. For decades, Hult has provided students and executives from around the world with the opportunity to forge careers that are not limited by borders or tradition. We have strong relationships with the world's leading companies and an approach to experiential business education that really utilizes the world as its campus. And this means that Hult has a history and a future unlike any other business school. So just to touch briefly on the other programs that we offer, Hult does offer a Bachelor of Business Administration. And then among our graduate programs, we have one-year full-time master degrees designed for candidates who don't yet have work experience or have less than 3 years of work experience. Those programs are International Business, Marketing, Finance, and Business Analytics. We offer a Master's in Disruptive Innovation, which is available as a 6-month dual degree add-on after our full-time MBA program or International Business program. For candidates who do have 3 or more years of professional work experience, we offer a full-time 1-year MBA, and then we also offer 2 part-time executive MBAs, the Global MBA, as well as the Metropolitan Executive MBA program we'll be talking more about today. No matter which program you pursue at Hult, you will be fully immersed in diversity. Hult is an American school, but there is actually no majority nationality that makes up our student body. So we do have 160 nationalities represented across all Hult's programs and campuses, more than 100 languages spoken by our students, and the average student here does speak 3 languages. Our faculty are just as diverse as our students, and they come from 45 countries, bringing firsthand global experience into the classroom. All right, so Hult is proud to be the first triple accredited U.S. business school. We are recognized by business education's 3 most prestigious international accrediting bodies, AACSB, the Association of MBAs, EMBA, and EQUIS. We are the first and only business school in the U.S. to achieve this Triple Crown status, which is held by just 1% of business schools worldwide. I also wanted to touch on the EMBA Innovation Award that we were awarded in 2014. So we had actually interviewed 100 of the world's leading CEOs, and we asked them what business graduates need in order to be effective leaders in today's workplace. And based on their responses, we built our unique leadership development program. And it was a groundbreaking approach that won Hult the EMBA Innovation Award that year. Okay, so a degree from Hult can take you to many places and on a variety of career paths. These career outcomes show the impressive success of our students just a few months post-graduation. So you can see for The Economist, the program is ranked 53rd best EMBA worldwide, 11th for percentage increase on pre-MBA salary, and 5th for number of overseas MBA alumni branches. And we do have a very extensive network of alumni, over 21,000 globally. And then for the Financial Times, 73rd best EMBA worldwide, 13th for EMBA corporate social responsibility, and top 20 for EMBA salary increase. Okay, great. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to James, who will dive into the specifics of our Metropolitan EMBA program.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Jenny. I want to take this opportunity to obviously introduce myself again. I am the Director of Enrollment here over Executive MBA programs for Latin America at the university. And I want to take this opportunity to just talk with you all a little bit more about the actual curriculum of the Metropolitan Executive MBA, the student profiles in our Executive MBA programs, and of course, our faculty and career services here at the university. So without further ado, we can definitely go ahead and get started discussing a little bit more about the program first. The first thing that I think is really important to note about the program is that you can study part-time and earn a US and UK accredited degree in the nearest city to you. So as Jenny and I had mentioned earlier, this program can be located across all of the Americas. But the really exciting thing is just because you have limited travel and you're really more focused on doing classes over Saturdays and Sundays 2 times a weekend, doesn't necessarily mean that you can't still get a US and UK accredited degree. By graduating from Hult's Executive MBA, Metropolitan Executive MBA program, your degree will still be accredited in the US and the UK. So it is a great additive, apart from the flexibility that the program offers, to be able to have both of those accreditations as a graduate of this program. Now, how is this program flexible? Let's begin with obviously the weekend classes. So the reason that this program is brought closer to home to you, whether it be Mexico City or Bogota or Lima or San Francisco or New York, is the fact that we can actually teach classes on Saturday and Sunday without needing to take away from Monday through Friday. So the exciting thing is you can actually take classes 2 times a month, 2 weekends out of the month, Saturday and Sunday, 4 days of class a month, and you do it all from the city closest to you where the program is offered. Secondly, you're allowed to change campus if there's a need. So if for any reason after your first year you need to change campus or location, if for any reason you need to make up a class in another campus, it is something you can discuss with the dean directly to see if there's another campus where you can take the class. If for any reason you had an emergency at work, a personal emergency, we do provide flexibility in that as well, in that we are a global school with centers and campuses across the world. Another really exciting thing is the classes are recorded, so you can feel free to go ahead and go back and hear what happened in the class, the discussions that occurred. You never have to feel like you fall behind, even if you had to miss a weekend due to personal commitments or work commitments. You can actually catch up with what you missed that weekend. You have the online portal, My Hult, in which you can actually access all of your schoolwork, do your preliminary classwork, watch lectures from the professor, watch additional reading materials if you choose to do that. All of that is available in our online learning environment. And of course, you can study anytime and anywhere. Prior to those class visits, you are required to go ahead and do pre-work. So you might need to read a couple of case studies, watch a video that walks you through something that you need for the class. That you can do at any time. You can do it in the evenings, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday after work. You can actually do it on the weekends when you're not in classes. So you actually have max flexibility there to do the things that you need. And then, of course, it is a flexible program length in that you can actually complete the program in 18 to 24 months. And that depends on you. In the summer months between May and August, you can either choose to take 6 electives your first year to be able to graduate in 18 months, or you can divide them 3 one summer and 3 the following summer, and then you would graduate in 24 months. This race here is the interactive conference sessions and the way the program operates. In the left side, you see Ian teaching from Boston directly. You have students listening in on his lecture in New York at 11:20 a.m. And then you have students listening in Mexico City at 10:20 a.m. at the same time in real time. They can all have discussions together about the presentation the professor is doing. They can share ideas. They can all interact with one another, even though they are time zones apart and even cities and countries apart, which makes the interactive sessions really, really great. Not only will your interactive sessions allow you to interact with other students globally, but you'll also be able to work in local groups, in the groups closest to you. In the afternoons, normally the professor does break out for group work, things like that, as well as being able to work in international groups and international settings. This is the professor live on video. At the same time, the professor slides are normally playing on a second screen, so you're allowed to see both the presentation as well as the professor live. It's almost like being in person without having to fly to Boston 15, 20 times a year or throughout the length of the program in order to complete the program with limited travel. Using technology, we're able to harness the same level of education you would get from being in person with a professor. And here again are just different screenshots. But how does your academic year work? And I think the visual aid of this is so important. So as I mentioned earlier, students take classes every other week in the nearest center to them. Those centers are located throughout the Americas, but basically it's a total of 4 classes per month, 4 days of classes. And you can see here that the first class that students will be taking, Leading with Personal Impact in September, is a 1-week long class. And that class is actually on campus in Boston. So that gives them an opportunity before even doing any of the classes in the centers to meet each other. All of the students taking classes throughout all of the Americas have an opportunity to network with one another, to meet the MBA students in Boston, to meet the master degree seeking students in Boston, to meet their professors in person, meet career services, meet student services, and everyone who'll be a part of their journey over the next 2 years, over that weekend. Leading with Personal Impact is also part of the Association of MBAs, the award that we received for innovation and leadership from an MBA program in 2015. So that's something that they'll be able to do in person, because it does require a lot of group work that the professor wants to see and wants to kind of give feedback on in terms of how they're leading. Once they're done with that week, they're able to return back to their home city. Let's say, for example, I am studying in Santiago, Chile. I will be able to do organizational behavior, marketing, data and decisions, accounting, project planning, and execution over these weekends named here from the center located in Santiago, Chile. All of this while still interacting with my classmates across all of the Americas, sharing ideas, working in international and local groups, and being able to gain expertise from the professors straight from Boston. Then during the months of May and July, I'll actually be doing electives. I have the option to choose these electives. And the really great thing about the electives is I'm able to take a total of 6 electives. 3 electives in a specialized area allow me to do a specialization. Specializations at the university are finance, marketing, project management, entrepreneurship. We even have data analytics. So these are all specializations students can choose to specialize in, which are then added to their transcript upon graduation. Once they're done doing their electives, they'll jump right into financial management, which actually takes place a little bit longer than any other classes. You can imagine finance, there's a lot to cover. So students have 2 weekends that they do classes in, and then they have a long weekend where they do more leadership coursework, Leading with Personal Impact, as well as a 1-credit financial management course for another week that they were based out of Boston, for a total of 2 weeks in Boston. And then they can return back. Let's say this time I'm returning back to Mexico and I'm at the center in Ciudad de Mexico. I'll be able to take managerial economics, business and global society, operations management, global strategy, future mindset, and challenge, all here. And then 3 more electives that I can take on to do a second specialization. And then, of course, graduation in August based out of the Boston campus. Specializations, as I mentioned, at the university are management, finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, and data analytics. And then the really great thing about the electives is you can elect to do them regionally from your center. So let's say, again, I'm based out of the Mexico City Center. I can definitely choose to do that class from the Mexico City Center hybrid, fully online, or I can actually choose to do it out of any of the 4 home campuses, San Francisco, Boston, London, and Dubai, or I can even choose to elect and rotate to one of the campuses in a rotation center, such as New York and Shanghai, giving me the ability to travel across the world. I can do 1 class at each of the centers if I choose to want to travel worldwide and see all of the campuses at Hult. I can even choose to do 3 electives hybrid from the local center in Mexico City, and then choose to do 3 electives in San Francisco and Boston and not have to go very far. I get to do that. I get the flexibility to choose where it is that I want to go, as you will be able to choose during your specialization component. Now, even though you are going to be based mostly out of your home city, that doesn't stop us from providing you expert career coaching and personal support. And if you're an executive MBA in the Metropolitan program, we do that in 2 different ways. The first way is in-house through our career services offices located at all of our campuses. You'll have access to boot camps and workshops such as LinkedIn, interview tips, companies that are coming to campus, career fairs that we host. All of those things are still going to be provided for you. But as an executive MBA student at Hult, you'll actually also have access to career coaches. Those career coaches are located around the world. I know there's a career coach in Philadelphia. I know there's a career coach in Boston. Catherine, who heads our career service department, also also helps a lot with executive MBA. She's based out of San Francisco. We have career coaches in London, in Shanghai, in Hong Kong, in Dubai. And students have access to all of these career coaches who have global expertise and have worked with Fortune 500 companies as headhunters, normally on average for anywhere between 15, 20 years, and really do have a very expert approach into what students graduating from our executive MBA need if they're looking to transition into another country, if they're looking for new opportunities, if they are looking to map themselves into becoming an executive at the current company that they're working in order to be able to maneuver and do those things that they need in order to find that ideal opportunity throughout their time gaining an executive MBA with us or after graduation. So you will be able to learn and meet prospective employers. You will be able to build your own network of over 21,000 alumni here at the university using something we call Hult Connect. You'll be able to attend those career boot camps and skill-based workshops. Most importantly, you'll have access to that one-on-one advisory program that we offer our executives, allowing them to kind of grow, figure out what it is that they want to do, and what the next steps are for them in order to get there. And then, of course, change never stops. So even as an alumni, we have a lifetime commitment to all of our students. As an alumni from Hult's Executive MBA program, you'll be able to get one free elective every year for the rest of your life. We offered last year in 2018 over 120 elective options to our alumni across all of our campuses, and hybrid online. If for any reason they couldn't travel to take the class, we actually offered them the opportunity to take hybrid online electives. We have a network of over 21,000 alumni with over 70 alumni chapters active globally. And all of those students are connected through something we call Hult Connect. And students, upon becoming students, have access to join Hult Connect to be able to begin connecting with alumni across the world, dating back to 1964, when Hult started as the Arthur D. Little School of Management. And then, of course, we have to discuss our professors. I think students learn a lot from one another. They learn a lot from the global setting, but we do have practitioners teaching our students. Our professors are mostly practitioners, and they're CEOs, entrepreneurs, consultants, and have been ranked among some of the best in their field globally. And this is an opportunity for you to get to know some of them a little bit better. Let's start with Joanne Lawrence. Joanne is actually a professor here who teaches within global society. She has a background in finance. She was named one of Britain's top 20 corporate women by the Sunday Times. And I know for the executive MBA students, such as yourselves, if you're looking to do this program, she teaches the second year, a class called Global Society to students as part of this program. But she also teaches many different electives that students can take, including social entrepreneurship, which I know is a very popular elective here at the university. Secondly, I'd like to talk about Kerry Guittard. Kerry was named to the Hall of Heroes at the MBA Women International Conference in Arizona in 2013. And I know one of Kerry's very popular classes actually happens to be one of her electives as well, and it's Women in Business. And I've heard from many of my previous students who've taken her class that it's a very powerful class that really changed the way that they look at business. And I think it's a very exciting thing to know that as a university, we do offer classes in women in business and advancement and things like that. Another great professor, Ted Ladd. He has over 20 years of experience in 8 high-tech venture capital-backed startups. And he teaches a lot of different classes as well as teaching electives here at the university. I know Ted has taught classes in both Boston and London, and that's another really exciting thing about our professors. They have worked on average in about 3 to 4 different countries, and they do teach across all of our campuses many times, and they teach different classes, different electives at different campuses that the university owns around the world. And then lastly, Gonzalo Chavez, who is a faculty at the university. I know he's teaching financial management in Boston to the executive MBA students. He was awarded the Hult EMBA Professor of the Year in Boston in 2017. And more exciting than that, Gonzalo is actually now the dean of the campus in Boston. And then, of course, apart from speaking about our great professors or faculty and the program itself, I think this is a great opportunity for us to discuss the current students and alumni of the Executive MBA program, just so you can see a little bit about what to expect from the students that we have in our program. And of course, the type of classmates that you might have sitting next to you in one of your centers, sitting next to you in Boston when you take a trip there, or even when you're rotating around the world. So this is Luis Chumpintas. He's graduated in 2018. He's a Peruvian and was an executive MBA student here at Hult. And what he said upon graduating was that studying an EMBA forced me to get out of my comfort zone, deal with the latest trends in the international business, and of course, apply the newest management techniques and constantly challenge myself. Amira Alpha is actually one of my students originally based out of Los Angeles who started the program in 2017, I'm sorry, dating back my students here. But Amira actually started the program in 2017. She graduates in August of this year. As I mentioned, she started the program based out of Los Angeles. At that point in time, she was working at Irvine Scientific as a manager of partnerships over Europe, Middle East, Asia, India, and actually took over Africa in her time doing the program. She was traveling quite a lot. Then she relocated to DC for a bit, and after her first year, was able to apply and garner an opportunity at the beginning of her second year of our program in a dream job as the head of corporate engagement for the United Nations Global Compact. And now she's based out of New York. So in her time doing this program, Amira has actually lived in Los Angeles, in DC, in Rome, spent time in Dubai, spent time in Africa, so quite a bit. And now she's based out of New York. So a great opportunity. And I think she's an excellent example about how many of our students do find other opportunities within the first year of doing this program. Andrea Reilly, the CEO at Rulix, he is based out of Boston now, originally Italian, and he's working on a tech startup. I think it's just really great to present Andrea because Andrea is actually an entrepreneur and has been an entrepreneur for a long part of his career. And I think we do have a lot of really great students who come in as entrepreneurs. They don't necessarily need to have just management experience within a large Fortune 100 company, let's say. Just lots of really interesting entrepreneurs with great experience. And Andrea specifically works in the area of artificial intelligence and value data. Susan Ballou, another really great entrepreneur. Susan has a background in dentistry. She's actually a very, very specialized dentist in the area of periodontist. And she actually has 2 practices opened in Boston, used to have a practice in Texas. And her goal doing this program is actually that she has the opportunity to learn the side of business that she didn't know before. She actually used to hire consultants to help her with the business side of her business and kind of just guide her along the way. Now she's able to kind of learn that side of business for herself in order to grow all of her practices. And that is why she's chosen to do an executive MBA with us here at Hult. But she comes from a very non-traditional background, and I think it's very exciting to have her in class, just the ideas that she brings to the table. Bernard Paiva, he's the executive director at ESM Entertainment Sports Management from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Also, kind of more of a startup here in terms of what he's doing, but it's part of more entertainment and working more in the athlete world. But I think so far, if you look at all the students we've discussed, it's an opportunity to see how diverse all of them are. Bernard comes from a background prior to this of education, and now he's working in marketing, specifically within sports. Next, we have Mariana Adami, originally from Brazil. She now lives in Ciudad de Mexico. She's the head of financial reporting for Mexico and Latin America for the HSBC Bank. Another strong financial profile, but I think this is really important for her. This program is an opportunity for her to network and advance her network in Latin America and globally as well. And she currently works as the head of financial reporting, but prior to that worked in accounting policy at HSBC Mexico. Claudio Cipolla, based out of Montreal, Canada. He actually speaks Italian, French, English, one of a very traditional student here at Hult. Many of our students speak about, on average, 3 different languages. He's currently working as a director at a financial group, and he started that position around the same time that he started an executive MBA. Prior to that, he was working as a manager at Sun Life Financial, and he's been more in the financial sector most of his life as well, but looking at Hult as an opportunity to network and meet new people and advance his network in the Americas. And now I want to go ahead and pass it over to Jenny to discuss a little bit more about the application process at the university, of course, discuss a little bit more about scholarships, and I know you all are interested in learning a little bit more as well about financial aid and how that works here at the university.
Thank you, James. So at this point, after learning more about the Metropolitan EMBA program, for those of you who may be interested in moving forward with an application, I wanted to talk a little bit about our application and admissions process. For those of you who are considering the program for September 2019, we do still have some seats available at our various locations. We are nearing the end of our admissions process, but do still have a deadline approaching on June 25th. So we do take a very personalized approach to our admissions process here. You'll work with either myself, James, or one of our colleagues from when you first begin your application throughout the process. And then if you do end up joining us in September, we'll work with you to get you settled at the start of the program. So it's quite a straightforward process. It is all done online. To get started, you'll go to our website at hult.edu/apply. You will create a profile, enter your personal details, employment and education history, and then submit your application fee of $150. So that's steps 1 and 2. That takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and that makes up your preliminary application, which would be the only piece of the application required on or before June 25th in order to register your interest in your application with us. We'll then work closely with you over the course of a few weeks to collect all of your supplemental documents. So this is pretty straightforward. We'll look at a copy of your CV, personal statement, professional reference, a copy of your undergraduate transcripts. GRE and GMAT is optional for the program, and proof of English proficiency may be required depending on your specific profile, but that is something that can be turned in later in the process. And aside from just these hard copy application materials that we look at, as James spoke about the students in our program, we look at students from a variety of backgrounds. We take a very holistic approach to the process. We're not just looking for candidates, with a specific business background. We value that diversity in terms of someone's experience, and we certainly look for students who have a global mindset and an ability to really think outside the box. Once we have all of your documents, you'll do a hour-long personal assessment interview with a member of the admissions team, really your chance to learn more about the school and also for the admissions committee to learn more about you and your background. We do aim to have decisions back for candidates at this stage of year in no more than 1 to 2 weeks. So we will get that decision back to you quite quickly. And then there will be a confirmation deadline set for you to let us know if you'll be joining the program, assuming that you're accepted. That can range from a few days up until a few weeks, depending primarily on capacity at each of our locations. All right, scholarships and financial aid, always an important consideration. Hult does offer a range of both merit scholarships and needs-based financial aid for candidates who apply. Our merit scholarships, in order to be considered for those, you would submit an essay, 200 to 300 word essay, in response to one of the scholarship topics on our website. So I've highlighted just a few here: our Global Professional Scholarship, Women in Business, and Entrepreneurial Impact. Our scholarships really take a look at experiences that candidates have had, in addition to academic and professional credentials as well. We also offer needs-based financial aid that candidates can apply for on a case-by-case basis. You would need to complete what's called a declaration of finance within your application, and that will really look at the different resources you have to be financing the program, and then that does give you the opportunity for a partial needs-based financial aid in addition to any merit-based scholarship that you might receive. Again, as we are approaching the end of our admissions cycle, we do still have both merit and needs-based opportunities available, but it would be important to move forward with your application process just as soon as possible. Great. So I want to thank you all for joining our webinar today. I hope this gave you a better understanding of our part-time program. And at this point, we do have a few minutes for any questions that anyone might have. So you can go ahead and enter those into the chat.
All right, so the first question we have is with regards to Hult's focus on practical business education. Can you describe the practical part of this program?
Excellent. So I can actually dive in and talk a little bit more about that. So the really exciting thing about our MBA programs, all three of them, the Global Executive MBA, the Metropolitan Executive MBA, and the full-time MBA program here at the university is they all follow similar curriculums. The exciting thing about those curriculums is, as we discussed earlier, a lot of our professors themselves are CEOs and consultants and practitioners in their field. And they do bring a lot of those real life case studies and situations that they're working on into the classroom across all three of these programs. So the practitioner approach stays the same across all three programs. Most importantly, also is a lot of times the professors will have students who might be dealing with programs or projects or different things that they're working on themselves within their company that they're establishing into the classroom, and they're able to actually work on these things themselves with coworkers, with colleagues in the program, and they're able to actually use this and take it back into the classroom. In fact, the practical application is the #1 thing executive MBA students rate the highest in their satisfaction surveys. They say that between their weekend visits, that following Monday, they're able to immediately put the practical things that they learned into practice in their work.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, James. And the next question is, if I have a challenge with a particular subject, will my professor be available to help me?
Yeah, so similar to the last question, the professors are available in a multitude of ways. So they're available via email. They normally answer back emails within 24 to 36 hours per the university policy. They do have office hours that the student can access the professor via, if you are in Mexico or in San Francisco or in New York, and you want to access the professor via video, you can access them during their office hours via video as well. And then lastly, the weekends that you are in class, if for any reason a later part of the afternoon class section is actually dedicated to teamwork or group work, the exciting thing is the professor is still going to be available for those afternoons for you. So if you stumble upon a problem while working in a local group or an international group, and you want to have a discussion with the professor, you can actually take time to video the professor and have that discussion with them late in the afternoon on Saturdays or Sundays when they are still made available to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And the next question is with regards to career services, and how do career services work with Metropolitan EMBA students?
Yeah, so I think we touched up on this during the webinar as well, but there's a variety of ways career services is available. The on-site career service personnel that we have across our campuses, they're available for boot camps and workshops to discuss LinkedIn profiles and resumes and to discuss interviewing tips, do mock interviews, do job fairs on campuses, help connect students with prospective employers that they might be interested in. So those are different ways career services might be used on campus. And then the students in the executive program also have access to their executive career coaches worldwide. There's about 10 of them in different areas around the world with different market knowledge and industry knowledge that they can utilize as well. And then, of course, the 21,000 alumni we have worldwide that they have access to through Hult Connect. So there's many different avenues they can take for career services.
Yeah, okay, great. And then we have a question coming in with regards to the Metropolitan EMBA classes and just a little bit about the structure. So are all of the classes happening at the same time across the locations? For example, in Lima, Mexico City, San Francisco, how does that work?
Yeah, so I really do think that's what makes the program so great. So you are taking classes at the same time. So someone in New York City might start the class at 10 a.m. Someone in Mexico is starting class at 9 a.m. And then someone in San Francisco is starting class at 7 a.m. But the exciting thing about that is while you're having discussions, you are having discussions with people in different areas. Someone in Peru, someone in Chile can share their opinion. Someone in Colombia might have an opinion. And they might think differently than you or have worked on a project in a different way than you that maybe gave them a better result. And you're able to learn from each other in those in-class discussions, as well as being able to work with each other in these international groups and be able to create that international network you're looking to gain.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, James.
Okay, and we have a couple more questions coming in as well. And the first one of these, Jenny, if you want to go ahead and dive into some of these questions as well. How many times does a student from the EMBA program have to do classes in one of our campuses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a great question. And a really wonderful part of the program is that you do have the opportunity to experience all of our global campus locations if you'd like to. It is up to each individual student. So you will take 3 electives in year 1 and 3 electives in year 2. And those are the opportunities that you have to go to one of our campus locations. That could be Boston, San Francisco, New York, London, Dubai, or Shanghai, and take classes over a long weekend that will be in person with classmates from our other full-time programs at the various locations. And you'll also be able to be in person in Boston during year 1 and year 2 for the 1-week leadership immersion.
Excellent, very good. And then another question regarding to our centers, is it mandatory to do class in our centers, or if a person is traveling, can this person join class anyways from their own computer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's an important question, one that comes up a lot. So it is always preferable to remain at your home campus for classes as much as possible. And that's really just due to maintaining the group dynamic at that location, the ability to participate in discussions and interact with your group as you're working on different case challenges. However, we know that there are circumstances that come up where you may not be able to attend in person. We certainly want to be flexible where we can be. So as long as you are able to get permission from the dean, there will be occasional opportunities where you could take the class at a later time online. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to participate in the discussion or the group project aspect, but would be able to make that up. And if you are in another location where we have, for example, if you're studying in San Francisco, you happen to be in New York for one of the classes, again, with permission from the dean, that is something that we can consider on a case-by-case basis.
Excellent, very good. And another question about graduation and being able to graduate between 18 and 24 months. What is the difference between being able to graduate in 18 or in 24 months?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So it really comes down to how intensive you'd like to make the program and what your schedule looks like. And again, the program is very flexible, so it does allow for that earlier graduation for students who want that. So if you do want to complete your program in just 18 months, you would take all 6 of your electives during the summer of year 1 instead of breaking that out 3 electives in year 1 and 3 electives in year 2. So again, it will be a little bit more intensive. Your summer will be much busier, but that will allow you to complete the program in a faster period of time.
Excellent, very good. And then the last question about post-graduation. So what are some of the top companies executive MBA students are working for after graduating?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So we have students working for companies around the world, top employers including PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, Accenture, Salesforce, Boston Consulting Group, just to name a few of our top employers. We do see a lot of our students in the Executive MBA program, however, who do stay with their current company. It's about 68% of students who, after completing the program, are promoted within their company or who start their own company. We have a very entrepreneurial group of students. So in addition to students who are working for large companies globally, we do have quite a few graduates from the program who go on to start their own ventures.
Excellent, very good. And then let me review here to see if we have any more questions pending.